Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a look at SUI. Still respecting its descending trend line here. Soon to break though. It looks like we want to kind of get above that. And again, folks, keep in mind descending trend lines. They're not like the absolute best thing ever, but I would say they're probably one of the more reliable indicators here. So with us getting closer to breaking that level, there's a solid chance we might be seeing a shift in momentum. We do want to establish higher highs and higher lows before we get super confident and excited about the price being back on track, but it is doing fairly well in the overall sense, right? So in other words, Bitcoin has been continuing higher, where SUI has been kind of going sideways and down, but also sideways and up in the last 4 to 8 hours. So this is mostly positive in the overall sense, but once again, as per usual, Bitcoin coming up to its resistance range. I don't think we should be super excited. I feel like parabolic stuff is gonna take a little while to happen, and let's not get too crazy. Again, I'm sure the Moon Boys are having a great time today just because Bitcoin is at its local high here and essentially doing well, but I think it's a little too early to celebrate. Again, that's just me personally. I just try to be a little more logical when I look at the charts here. Trying to get super emotional, and I think you shouldn't either. It's really easy to say though. I totally get it. Either way, if you could help grow the channel, hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. Love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to join the bots down below in the comments, and/or feel free to I don't know, say something constructive. It's all good either way. Appreciate you. We'll look forward to seeing that, and also more importantly, left-hand side and the right-hand side here. We got 7 days left. 30 days on the right as far as liquidation levels are concerned. And we can see there's a pretty significant amount of liquidation forming on both sides. Okay, it's not like it's a definitive, we're going to go in either direction because of liquidation, but truth is we're slightly closer to the downside to a higher level of liquidation as we discussed previously, as low as about 195, and then we have those pockets between 180 and 165. These are low leverage longs, folks, okay? Those are where you should be. You should have liquidation levels in the 170 range, so you really have nothing to worry about, okay? Or very little to worry about. I think the truth is anyone taking along right now with SUI is probably pretty safe, but it really depends on the circumstances, right? If you're doing a high leverage long at 100x leverage because some idiot online with sunglasses and techno music is telling you to take along, that might be a different story altogether. You probably want to lower your leverage so you can increase your likelihood of success. While again, you're not going to be getting monumental amount of returns and gains, you're going to be surviving the market and making sure you don't get destroyed like everyone else, okay? So please, don't be another statistic. The reason why liquidation levels occur so often and we see sweeps of ugly candle wicks up and down is because there's so many high leveraged longs or shorts in the market at any given time. So once again, I prefer to steer clear of being a statistic, and at this point here, let's talk about the chart. So to double check here really quick, just to clarify, this is the delta for liquidation. When it gets to a high level like this, it implies that the shorts are in for a potential sweep. In other words, you can only have so many positions going in one direction for so long. And for the last 2 or 3 trading days, we've seen a lot more shorts than longs in the market. So that implies that the price is probably more likely to just pop up here soon. We can take a look here. We can see open interest at about 218. That kind of runs concurrent with that resistance range that we've talked about in the past. That's this red line here, 217, 218. That was a previous daily candlestick closure and just a very consistent number here for SUI. So that to me is the new top until we close above that. I don't really feel like we're going to see like a monumental uptrend. I don't even think we're going to see that regardless, just based on the simple fact that Bitcoin is still establishing itself. Bitcoin dominance is way too high. Significantly valuable coins like SUI are going to be the ones that are going to be getting profits taken from them if Bitcoin pulls back. Okay, so you got to keep in mind, this is kind of one of those odd little transitions that we're in right now, and I think taking a lot of longs with altcoins is maybe just a bad call just yet. I think it's a little too early. But again, SUI is one of those exceptions to the rules, so I think you're going to find more success taking a long than a short with SUI in the relative near future. The reason why is because we have a nice little bullish engulfing candle here so far, and that's actually looking pretty nice. So we can close above 208 soundly here today. A decent chance we'll see some continuation. And the reason why that's relevant, folks, if you're not familiar, it isn't just because it's a brighter green than the previous candle. It's simply because it's telling us in the last 24 hours, we've seen a substantial increase, and basically we're seeing a lot more bulls controlling the last 24 hours than the previous 48, okay? So it really just implies that momentum is shifting, so to speak. We can see stochastic here as well, swinging up, which is generally a favorable sign. Money flow index and RSI above 50, that's always good. While the MFI is below the RSI, not necessarily the greatest sign, it's still very positive and definitely a good scenario here for us. So all in all, I really like what I see here from SUI so far on the daily. Still looking good, and as per usual, folks, again, we are honoring and respecting our ascending trend line here. Until we break below, we can presume is going to continue higher. I said the same thing for Bitcoin as well here so far, and we are still respecting and honoring that as well. So until this officially breaks down, we have no reason to consider that. Okay, at least we don't want to consider a short is probably the easiest way to describe it. So I wouldn't recommend a short with SUI. I don't really recommend shorting SUI in general because it's such a strong recovery coin that if you're shorting, you could probably find some success as long as you watch it closely. But if you're just going to set it and forget it and try to short down to like 170, 180, or even 190, it's still probably a bad idea at this point. Again, a lot of that hinges on the fact that we have broken free from this descending trend line, still looking pretty solid. If we look at the Ichimoku cloud here, we can see we are soon to break above, more likely than not going to see the price continue further up here. We can also see as well, if we look at the lagging span, that's free and clear, conversion lines over the baseline. There's a lot more reasons here to consider a long position than a short position. If you are going to consider a long, I would recommend securing some profits between here and 217. Just because that has notoriously been a strong resistance level for us, or a range rather. So the 217, 218 should be a take profit target for you if you're going to consider a long. If you're going to be ultra greedy, you could consider this point, this $2.22, that's our 0.236 fib level. I'll update our playout chart here shortly and send that on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord as per usual. If you're not familiar, it looks a little something like this. I do want to say thank you to a lot of really cool, constructive people who have been mentioning me on social media here, kind of getting it growing a little bit. That's pretty awesome. I mean, 1530, that's pretty solid. In the last few weeks, we've been seeing an increase there. So great stuff. Really appreciate y'all. Thanks so much again for being an awesome part of my life. And thank you too for just really being cool, constructive, awesome people. The SUI community is very, very supportive and nice and just congenial. They're not really a toxic community. I mean, there's a couple trolls, of course, you see that here and there, but either way, it's really super awesome. Speaking of which, Bitunix, folks, if you haven't already checked these guys out, awesome deposit bonus rewards this month here for these guys. If you're part of my community, you've been using them for a while, you're automatically eligible for this. This is for my community. But if you want to be part of that, you can jump on board. Link down below for that if you're curious. They are fantastic. Mainly use them because there's no KYC or VPN required. All right, folks, have a great rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.